So it's 1:30. I will call the meeting of the McHenry County Zoning Board of Appeals to order. The purpose for our meeting today is petition 2022-009. This is an application for a conditional use permit allowing for the operation of a landscape business with outdoor storage in the A1 Agricultural District. The address of this petition is 13619 Illinois Route 176, Woodstock, Illinois. The tax PIN number is 13-31-100-002. The property consists of about 29.341 acres and is located on the south side of Illinois Route 176, approximately 1,325 feet east of Sunnyside Road in Door Township. The applicant is Amy Leinhardt and April Howard. At this time, I would like the board members to introduce themselves and the township that they reside in, starting on my left.
Robert Cozen, Algonquin Township.
Donald Smolinski, Grafton Township.
Charlie Eldridge, Richmond Township.
And Linnea Kustra in Alden Township.
Vicki Gardner in Nunda Township.
Kurt Schnabel, Riley Township.
This petition has been reviewed and the following items have been received prior to today's scheduled hearing. The publisher's certificate of publication from a newspaper is dated December 8, 2022. The affidavit of posting was signed and date posted was December 6, 2022. The affidavit of mailing was signed and date mailed was December 6, 2022. The survey has been checked against the petition, legal notice, and publication in the newspaper, and all three match. The filing fees have been paid. The endangered species consultation was not required for this petition. The McHenry County Soil and Water Conservation District report has been received. So I would like to recognize the petitioner, who is Amy or April.
They are not here.
Neither one
No.
of the petitioners are
No.
here? And who are you then?
I'm Amy's husband, and she's and the manager.
And your first name?
Elidio, Elidio, Oeri.
And your last name is Leinhardt?
No, it's Villavicencio. It's Villavicencio.
Okay, so you are here then representing
Yes.
your wife, and who is April Howard?
My wife's sister.
Okay. And with you is,
And
Ann Armbruster, and I'm the manager of the nursery.
okay, can you spell your last name?
ARMBRUSTER.
Okay, anyone that is giving testimony today, including both of you, if you're going to be giving testimony, and anybody else who's present who might want to make a comment or ask a question, I would want, and staff, any members of the public, I would want to swear you in. So at this time, anyone who wants to make a comment or a question, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do. Okay. Okay, how this works, I just want everybody to be aware. So the petitioner will present your evidence and why you feel like this petition should be approved by the county. So you have your opportunity to present anything that you want. After you've done so, then the members of the board will each be able to ask you questions regarding that evidence, as will staff. And then any members of the public can also ask you questions regarding what you have to say. And then after that is finished, then the staff will give their report, and the board will ask them questions as well. And then when your testimony is all finished, then anyone, any member of the public that wants to make a comment regarding this petition is able to do so. After all the testimony has been done and any questions, then you can make a comment on it. So at this point, I will turn it over to you to present the evidence that you feel that you have, so that why you feel this should be approved.
Okay. I don't know where to start first.
Why don't you tell us about the business?
Yeah, this is pretty much.
Okay,
what it
well,
is.
the business what we do is just sell. Well, we started growing flowers and perennials, and now we growing trees in the nursery where it used to be, and we do tree service in a landscape. So we have a lot of logs and wood chips that we turn into mulch, and to sell the customers. And so it's all, like I say, recycled instead of burning the wood chips or logs. We grind it every winter to have it ready for selling in the spring. Mulch and the logs we accumulate through the year, and then split it for firewood to sell it in the winter. So basically the mulch is sold from April, May, and June, and the firewood is selling from November and through the winter. And the hoops that we have is because before it was a nursery, and to growing in the field is hard to dig at any time or sell at any time. So we grow in the plants that are a little bit more sensitive for the winter, and doing in pots so you can sell it any time, even like early in the spring or late in the fall. So that way you conserve with the leaves a little bit late, and in the spring the same, you have the leaves early because they are in the hoops cover without the wind, and the temperature is a little bit higher. So they give us a little bit more of time to be able to longer the season for sale and also for production. The other option is, the other thing is that, like, we want to be able to sell any kind of landscape material for the customers that they pick up plants, and so it's why we be able to sell the mulch, and also in the winter do a firewood. So I think it's all right now what I can say. Well, I don't know if I have to explain the materials or just the general landscape material that we use, that is gravel, topsoil, mulch, and sometimes we sell like a stone, like decorative stone.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, it's what I have right now. If somebody have more
Okay,
questions.
we'll start asking
I will.
questions, and then I'll follow up with anything that's not covered. We'll start down here with Mr. Cozen.
Thank you. Should we be using the microphone? On your narrative, you reference trucks. How many trucks are you use in your business that are parked or?
It's like around probably 15, and trailers, like that you hook up behind, they are probably another 15.
And then you have outside bins for landscape materials?
Yes.
And how many outside bins do you have?
I'm not 100% sure, but we have right now probably like 15, but in the application we put it's almost like, I would say 40 all total storage bins. That is like 20 by 8 wide and high, 8 feet high.
And how are those bins constructed, or what are they made of?
Okay, so the blocks are 6 by 2, I'm sorry, 6 long by 2 wide and 2 high, and they are made by concrete.
You had a reference to gas and diesel tanks?
Yes, we have diesel tanks and gas tanks that is set up in asphalt and covered with beam blocks to protect to no trucks hit it or something.
If I can interject too, the fire
Only
department.
one
Oh,
person
sorry.
will testify.
So we
Sorry.
get a permit for the gas tank, and the marshal went to inspect it with extinguisher, like so everything to be safe.
How long have you been in business?
Almost 25 years.
Do you do any retail business on premise?
Okay, so right here is where we don't want to do retail, because it's a little bit more complicated with homeowners, because sometimes they don't know what they want, and because for safety is trucks and everything, so we just do a wholesale, so people know exactly where they want and they only stay in the truck, and we give the material to them or load the material for them.
You referenced that you have 10 employees?
Yeah, it's 10 to 12. 10 to 12.
10
yeah.
to 12.
Because it's temporary, like from April, May, and June, we may have 12. From in the winter, probably 8.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Smolinski.
Yes, sir. You testified you've been in business for 25 years. Why are you requesting this conditional use permit at this time? I suspect you've had outdoor storage of vehicles for many years.
Well, we have it in another place before.
And you stored the vehicles at your other place, and now you're storing them here?
Yes.
Okay. I did visit your site yesterday to see, and you have a lot of vehicles there, to include small trucks. You have trucks, large trucks, over-the-road trucks, trailers, etc. there. Also, you have large mounds of mulch in addition to the bins. What do you intend to do with the large mounds of different types of mulch?
Okay, so those piles mulches that we accumulate and grind it and let it like sit so they get the right color to sell it in the spring. Is in the spring like
Excuse me, sir. I'm wondering if you could turn on that microphone so that the recording will pick up your voice a little better. You just push it up towards the top of the microphone, that little button.
okay. Thank you.
And also, I guess I should have had you identify yourself again when you started your testimony with your name and your address, please.
Okay.
And then spell it, please.
The address of the location? Oh,
No, your name and the place, your address where you live. And
okay. So my name is Elidio Villavicencio, and I live in 2510 Ajax Street, Crystal Lake. And
Would you spell your name?
Billalabincio.
Okay, now you can continue. Sorry.
Okay, so the piles of mulch show, and like it's April, May, and June, the pile get lower, and we start all over again. And the firewood, the same in the winter, is like go down, and we split it again through the summer.
I mean, those piles are huge, they're 20, 30 feet tall. And is your intent to move those into the bin areas there, or to always keep mounds of mulch there permanently?
Is one more, okay, so the permit that we require is to have one pile for mulch, and one pile for firewood, and one pile for topsoil. So those ones, we put it in the bins because they compact and get hotter. So you have to almost like turn it over to be like turn it into a smooth product, and we put it in the bins. The other reason is because if we grab it from the big pile, you're gonna give chunks of hard material to the customer, and that way when we pick it up from the big pile and put it in the small bins, it's clean and it's already smoothed. And the other reason is because sometimes in the spring we have a lot of rain, and if it's in the pile, and the pile is no gravel and it's no concrete and no asphalt, so when the bins are clean, you know, like to put it in the bin, so when the customer come, if it's like raining, you don't get into the mud and give them material that is like dirty or muddy.
Okay, is your area there, is it gravel? It seemed to be pretty muddy back there. My car shows that. So do you plan to put additional gravel in there, or do any paving in
Yes.
back there, where all these vehicles are going to be stored?
Absolutely. So if we get the current, we have to gravel or either paving. So that is is what we would like to do, you know, like gravel and paving more. And some areas are gravel already, but in some areas, like you say, but where the piles of mulch and logs and topsoil, we don't wanna paving, and we don't wanna, you know, like gravel, because it's just, they have to be in the dirt.
I get that. There's a residence on the property. Who lives there?
Okay?
Who lives in the residence?
Oh, my April.
April does?
Yeah.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Eldridge.
Do you install your products, or largely just sell wholesale and your customers install their own product?
Okay, so that is the reason that I start, because, you know, like some customers, they cannot afford we do the installation. So they require, say, to deliver it, so we deliver it to them so they can install it. So we do both.
Okay, what percentage would you say that you install versus the percentage that you just deliver to the customer?
It's probably, I would say 40 and 60, so 40% we deliver to customers, and 60% we install it.
And you said that in addition to the plant materials, topsoil, mulch, and firewood, you sell stone. Do you sell other hardscape materials such as tiles and bricks?
No, we sell a little bit of brick, but not too much, because we have that for our, so, you know, like for our use, so some people, they want brick, but the most that we sell it is mulch and topsoil, and you know, like small stones, like decorative stones, small rocks.
The logs you use to make firewood and the brush for mulch, do you do tree removal or is
Yes,
that from others?
It's for tree removal. It's most of the tree removal.
That your firm is doing?
Yes, that we
So
do.
so you aren't buying logs from other people?
No, we don't buy anything from nobody.
Okay. Do you have any de-icing materials? Do you do any snow plowing?
We do snow plowing, yes, we do snow plowing.
And do you keep de-icing materials such as calcium chloride on the site?
We have pallets of salt.
And what sort of containment do you have to protect the environment from those?
Okay, right now, what we just do it is just put it in the asphalt between the bins and put the pallets and cover with plastic. That's what we do it right now.
And how big are your diesel tanks and your gasoline tanks?
They are, I think they are 1,000 gallons of each one.
1,000 gallon tank of each?
Yes, diesel and one of gas.
And do you have containment for that so that if the tank were ruptured, that it would contain the spill, or does it just go on asphalt and then wherever?
Okay, I don't understand the question.
What will happen to the fuel if the tank should have a spill? What is it going to wind up on?
Like, what is the, I guess I don't have anything right now, but that's why we put blocks around the.
That makes it harder for somebody to rupture it, but it doesn't contain it if there is a spill. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you owned this property? Or your wife and
Since
sister?
2016, I think.
2016?
Yes.
And have you been operating on this site, at least in part, since that time?
I think from 2018 we start.
And do you still have the other location you were using?
No,
When did you sell that or dispose of
we
that?
sold it last year, like in the spring.
In 2022?
Yes.
So since the spring of 2022, you've solely been operating on this site?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, that's all I have at this moment.
Ms. Gardner.
On the, in the staff report, on the very first page, there's an overhead picture of the property.
Which pages? Oh, down. Yeah, okay, I have that one. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a bunch of white lines on there. Are those your hoop buildings?
Yes, those are the hoop.
So those are existing now?
Yes.
Okay, and on your site plan, you have a whole bunch more, right?
Yes, to be able to do it in the future.
Okay, so this is what you hope to do
Yes.
later on, okay. And as far as the bins too, you're looking to expand those to more than double, is that right?
Yes, so we do another line, yes.
Okay, okay. Now, do you actually have customers come on your site to buy things, or are they just coming on your site to pick things up that they've ordered from you?
Okay. Can you repeat that line, please?
Okay, do you have customers coming to your property?
Customers, yes.
Okay,
They
and are
will-
they coming here to pick up something that they ordered from you?
Yes, sometimes
Okay.
they order and they pick it up, or sometimes if they don't have like a dump or something bigger or trailer we deliver to them.
Okay, so when customers come, it's already set what they're going to buy and leave with, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not like people are just coming and going and,
Yes, and that's why we don't want to do retail. We
Okay.
just want wholesale because make it easy and it's more safe to do it
Yes.
for wholesale. Yeah.
Now, are you growing trees on your property as well?
Yes. So right now you don't see it, but it's almost full of trees. The property.
Okay, so you already have a lot of trees on there?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see, what else do I want to ask you? With these diesel trucks, do you need to start those up early to warm them up before you leave?
No.
Okay, so you just turn them on and you go?
You basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't need long time to warm it up.
Glad to hear that. Now, there's a few homes also around your property.
Yes.
Have you been in contact with any of these neighbors?
No.
Okay. Have any of the neighbors complained?
No. Not that I know.
Okay.
We put a lot of trees, like all in both sides of the property, two sides of the property, because one side is farm.
Okay.
Okay.
And you have, it looks like a wide driveway into your property?
Yes.
Off of 176?
Yep.
Okay. And is that gravel or just dirt or what?
It's gravel. Just the entrance where the cover is paved.
Okay. Okay, but you said you're planning on putting in, did you say concrete or asphalt?
No, asphalt, and
Okay.
like where the parking lot is gonna be for
Where the
employees,
trucks
and
will be.
where around the office.
Right, okay. Let's see, what else did I have? So, how do I ask you this delicately? Are you here because you got caught doing business without having come here before?
Well, when we bought it, the property was used to be a nursery and a landscape operation,
Okay.
and the building have everything, have septic and bathroom and everything, but the septic, I think, was not approved
Okay.
or something like that.
Okay, all right, that's all I have, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Schnabel.
Yeah, just one quick question regarding the proposed pole sign. Could you give us some detail on that?
The proposal for what?
A lighted
Oh, for the
pole
sign?
sign in the front.
Okay, so, yeah, well, it's what we would like to do is put it a sign, but with electrical, like not just regular sign, electrical sign, so we'll be able to like change, like where we're gonna put it, like for the spring, for the summer, for the fall. I mean, if we wanna sell firewood, or if you have a discount for firewood, or a sale for any kind of plants or something, so be easy to do that.
I know that's not part of the conditional use that you're asking for, but just out of curiosity for everyone to know,
Okay.
can you give us some ideas to the size of the sign and how you would determine the size of the sign?
Okay.
How big is it?
Oh, how big?
How big will it be?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Why?
I think we put it, it's 8 by 4, like a plywood. 8 by 4, sorry.
That's close enough.
Okay.
That's all I have, thanks.
Okay, Mr. Jersey.
No questions.
Okay, I have some questions. First of all, I want to go through the standards for the landscaping business. There are certain standards that you need to meet for the landscape business. Let me find it.
Page 16.
Okay, storage areas shall be restricted to those so designated on the site plan. So I'm looking at some of the storage areas, and I'm trying to read this really small print that I have, and maybe Anna can put up the site plan. But I'm looking at like these 3 different piles would be on the southeast part of the, yeah, how tall are those? The firewood, topsoil, wood log pile, how tall are you?
Sometimes they probably get,
Well, I want to know what it is on the site plan, because I can't, it looks like you have it as 30 feet high, or, I can't read it.
Well, it's where we put it, 30 feet high, yeah.
That's
30
what I
feet.
see, yeah.
And I think it was testimony that you think they're a lot higher than 30 feet high right now? Mr. Smith?
I'd say between 30 and 40.
Okay.
We put a 40, you know, like, to be able to not exceed that, but I think the most is 25, 30.
Just so you know, that you're restricted to that, to whatever you have on your site plan, that's what you'll be restricted as.
Yes,
You
yes,
can't
yes.
do it any higher
Exactly,
than
yeah.
what's on the site
Okay.
plan. There was talk in the staff plan review about you wanting to put up another building somewhere. Do you have that included on here?
Yes, it's in the site.
So where is the proposed building then? I guess, oh, okay, so is that in the center? If I'm looking on the screen, is that on the center right area?
Okay, so we have the building and we just want to do the next, so be able to do the parking lot there.
So the slashed area would be the addition to the
Yes.
building?
It's almost going to be the same size of the other building. The other building is 50 by 80, so we just want to next to that building.
And you know that you'll have to put in a septic and there's, you know, you have to do all those, you have to get those permits for septic and well, all that sort of thing.
We have already the permit for the septic, because was required to have a permit for the septic. We cannot do it in November because we had to wait for the meeting.
Okay, I just remember, the Department of Health said that a private sewage system and water well for the office use will be required.
Mhm.
And they could not locate a septic system for the office, so you've got to make sure that you can't get this permit unless all that is done.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, all landscape business vehicles and equipment shall be stored entirely within an enclosed structure or in the permanent exterior storage space. So where are you planning to store all your vehicles? Show me on the site plan where that's
Okay,
gonna
so
happen.
if you see between, okay, so between the two lines of bins, that's where all the trucks park.
So like in the driveway area?
Yes, so you have the bins on one side and you have bins on the other side, so all the trucks park right there in the middle. So.
Is that shown on here, that that's where the
Yes,
vehicles will be?
yes.
All I see is existing gravel area. That's all it shows here. It doesn't show that for vehicle storage that I can see.
Yeah,
I think we put it there that says,
parking area.
Oh,
Yeah,
not between the hoops, but between the.
the materials,
between the
sorry.
bins. Okay, okay.
Consumers to read this.
Yes.
This print is just really too small
Yes,
for
really,
my eyes.
it's really, really small, yeah.
Magnifying glass. Okay, so you feel that all this equipment that you have will be able to fit in that area?
Yes, yes.
Okay, number 3 is preparation, assembly, and processing of materials shall occur wholly indoors or within the permitted exterior storage area only. So this would be preparation of your firewood, of your mulch, all your processing, and you have an area set aside on here for that to happen? You have an area set aside on your site plan where that's all going to happen?
Yes.
Where is that?
Okay, so the same like the squares at the bottom, is a little bit, we have the pile of
Well, could
wood
you
chips.
go up and just point it out on there,
Okay.
please? That
Might
would be
be-
much
that might be better.
helpful, yes.
Okay, so this is one for the firewood, for topsoil and firewood and mulch. So in those 3 areas.
So the processing and preparation all happens in those 3 areas?
Yes, yes.
And storage? in those-
And storage, because like we pile and later we grind it and we have in the same the same
And is
area.
it listed on there that that's your processing area as well?
Pardon me?
Is that listed in the site plan?
Yes,
that That's
yes.
where your processing area is and preparation?
Yeah, it's not right, that say, like production or preparation area, but we put just, like the area where it's gonna be a storage, the firewood, the mulch, and also.
I would like that
So-
listed so that it shows that the preparation, assembly, and processing.
Of those
If
materials.
that's what you're gonna
Okay.
do, I would like that listed
Okay.
so that everybody's clear on that.
So-
Okay, storage shall be limited to vehicles, equipment, and materials owned and leased by the property owner or tenant. Do you own all these vehicles or
Yes,
lease all these
yes.
vehicles yourself?
Yeah,
Okay. All vehicles stored on site must have current plate registration?
Yes.
Do they? Okay. All structures utilized by the landscape business must meet all applicable building codes for the occupancy category. So I'm sure that was addressed during site plan review, that your buildings have to meet whatever, to get occupancy permit, you probably have to have your bathroom, you have to have your, all those things that
Yes.
they require, you
Yes.
understand that? Vehicle oil changes and maintenance shall occur only inside of an enclosed structure meeting all applicable building and plumbing codes. Do you do any maintenance on your vehicles?
we don't do that, but we wanna do it. We wanna get a permit for, be able to do that.
Do you have floor drains in your building currently?
No.
Okay, and so I remember in the discussion at the site plan review, there was talk about if you don't have floor drains, you need a special place to put
To
that.
put it on, yeah.
Yeah, so you're aware of that. On-site retail sales are prohibited except as allowed by a greenhouse nursery business. And you understand that?
Yes.
The collection and storage of landscape waste at the facility shall be limited to tree branches 2 inches or greater in diameter, free of leaves, to be used as raw material to produce a legitimate product such as firewood, mulch, or wood chips, so long as it is processed in a reasonable amount of time as determined by the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency Bureau of Land Permit section. Have you been familiar with this this law, I guess, it's what the size is that you can use, and have you been following that in the past as you operate your business?
Yes, we just do, like I say, wood chips, and logs is the most that we grind it. And
how long is it, a reasonable amount of time, how long is it on your property before it's processed and moves off your property?
almost we grind it right away. We grind it right away. We don't let it sit too much time. So we grind it how it's coming or how we have. All depends. Like I say, sometimes in the spring we have more because we work a little bit more. Through the summer, it's starting to get slow.
But you don't have like a specific time frame, like it's processed within 2 weeks or it's processed within?
Sometimes it's a month. We have to wait a month. But sometimes it's 2 weeks and we grind it.
A landscape business shall not store asphalt paving equipment or supplies, and you don't do any of that, correct?
If I do paving, or
If you do not, you shall not store asphalt paving equipment or supplies on this property,
supplies, no.
or paving equipment.
I'm not sure what equipment is for paving.
Like if you're wanting to do blacktop or seal coat, so those sorts of things. That's not what your business is, and you
No,
can't.
no, we
and
don't-
you
we
can't
don't do
store
that.
any equipment on site that's
Okay,
like
no,
that.
we don't.
Storage of pavement de-icing agents shall comply with the part of the ordinance regarding de-icing storage. Did you say you're not using de-icing storage?
No, we have, but we was just looking the sheet that say that you need to follow something with the ice. Like say we have pallets of salt storage on the top of the asphalt between the bins.
Okay,
Right now, they aren't containing it.
So currently you're not meeting those standards, so you understand that you will have to, you can't do it unless you meet those standards.
Okay.
And employee parking shall be provided in accordance with our off-street parking and loading, and I think that's probably is, maybe, you can address this, otherwise where do your employees park when they come?
So if you see the building is the.
Again, can you go up and point
Oh,
things?
sure, sure. Oh,
I'm
there
sorry.
So it's right here. Inside of the building, we have the handicap right here for the office.
Okay, but I thought you said you had 10 to 12 employees.
Yes.
Is there enough spaces there for 10 to 12 employees to park?
Well, not everybody have cars, so they come in and sometimes they chew in a car, but I can put more
Does that,
space.
Anna, does that meet the requirements?
That's the problem.
I'm not certain about the number of employee parking for this type of business as to what is required for that. Renee usually handles the calculations for that.
Can you speak into the microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, for recording purposes, I'm Anna Kurtzman, I'm a senior planner here. I was indicating that Renee normally handles through site plan review calculations of parking spaces for employee parking. So I'm making a presumption that this is adequate for our standards. One moment, please. Okay, I'm being corrected here, that the parking for a landscape business is based on the square footage of the office as opposed to the number of employees.
Okay, so based on the office size, would this parking be for customers or is this for employees?
I don't know how your parking standards were created, if they were based on customer for an office or if they were based on employee for the office. What I can tell you is that it doesn't meet today's standards.
It does meet today's standards. Okay, that's all we can go by. Employee bathrooms shall be provided in accordance with McHenry County Public Health Ordinance and Illinois State Plumbing Code. Do you have employee bathrooms in there currently?
Oh, yeah, we have two.
But you don't have a septic system?
We have the septic, but for some reason was not approved as well. No.
Oh, okay, so it's an illegal septic?
Yes, so when they told that was not approved with a septic,
Did you build that building?
no.
Oh, it was there when you-
Was already, and the
project
office
was
was
purchased.
already, and the septic was already, and the bathroom was already.
Okay, so you just know that'll all have to be correct.
Yes.
And
And
all
sorry.
storage areas, parking areas and buildings shall comply with required setbacks for the zoning district. And I'm sure this was all covered in site plan review as far
Yes.
as your setbacks. Okay, and also we have questions you need to answer regarding standards for a conditional use permit. Those would be listed on page 15 of your packet. So I want to go through those with you. And to the best of your ability, just explain. Number one, we've dealt with, those are the standards I just talked to you about regarding a landscape business. Number two, that the site shall be situated, that the proposed use is compatible with the existing and planned future development of the area. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about, what's around here and how you feel that this is compatible.
Okay, can you repeat the question again, please?
I want you to address this number two and explain, why you think that your use is compatible with what's going on in the area.
Okay, so around in the area is a couple business that they do the same work what we do. In front is tree nursery, and the side, the same is a landscaper that is, I don't know if I can name by name, so just, like, so
Sure,
we
you
have
can name names.
Lumberjack, we have Nilco, we have Aspen, we have Grandpa's
And how
Christmas
far
tree.
are they like from your property?
They are in the same road and behind the road too.
Okay. Number 3, that the establishment, maintenance, or operation of this conditional use shall not be detrimental or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare of the neighboring vicinity. Can you demonstrate how that would happen? You don't?
For the health and for the neighbors,
Yes.
well, we trying to, do, if somebody complain, like I have to meet where they need, and the safety and the same, not do a noise too early and too late.
What are your hours of operation?
We usually start 7, like right now we start at 7:30
And end at what hours?
6.
And how many days a week?
We do Monday to Saturday.
Okay.
We open Sunday, because the bushes and perennials that we have to water that are in pots, that we have to do that.
And how about like, you have probably, you're processing this wood, you're operating, saws and that sort of thing to
Mhm.
cut that up? Does that happen all during that time period?
The change show is only in the winter. It's when we most split in firewood in the winter, and it's from 7 to 4 o'clock.
Every day?
No, not every day.
But you would want to be able to do it any day that you'd want to?
Yes, please, if it's possible.
Okay, so that was my question. So just go on with, it shall not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property. So do you have anything else to add to that? How your business would not injure your neighbors?
It's where we did the trees to block the noise and also the privacy. And if we require to do more trees, we'll be able to do that.
And so your trees are on the agricultural portion of this?
so
Where
I
you don't
can-
have buildings?
Pardon me?
Is the trees planted in the
Oh, yes,
agricultural portion of your?
and the land, and the rest of the land is
Okay.
planted.
Okay, number 5 is that the conditional use shall not substantially diminish or impair property value within the neighborhood. So do you think that your business will impact the property values of the neighbors around you?
I don't think that we do that because both areas are farm and everybody, I think, own more than 10 acres. So I don't think that damage the value of the properties.
12-foot arborvitae all the way along the side and this side.
Oh, okay. Would you just clarify, Mr. Eldridge, show me, it looks like you have arborvitae planted all along the perimeter of the property?
Yes, and the same, we did that for.
Is that
privacy.
planted currently? Or
Yes.
is it? Oh, it is? Okay.
And they are like around, I would say, 15 feet high.
Okay, that adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities have been or are being provided. Can you address that standard?
Okay, can you repeat that?
It's
please?
number 6 on your page.
Okay. Well, I think, I'm not sure if it's the question that, like we're not blocking any drainage or any entrance or utilities, if that's the question.
Okay. That adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide ingress and egress so designed as to minimize traffic congestion and hazard on public streets. Now that, is just basically how much traffic and, you know, where the traffic enters. I see where your driveway is, like on the eastern part of your property.
Yes.
That comes back in here. And so you have, you know, demonstrated how wide the road is, how much traffic do you have coming in and out every day?
It's not too much because it's wholesale. So basically, you know, like they come in the morning and you don't see too many trucks in the day.
Can you have a number, like how many times trucks would be coming in?
I would say probably 10 to 20 in the morning, or maybe a little bit more. From 7 to 10 is when most of people pick up material. And after that, it's just very...
And then are they basically then gone for the day doing what they
Yes,
need
the
to
same
do?
like what we do. We leave in the morning and we don't come back until 4 or 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Number 8, that the conditional use shall in all other respects conform to the applicable regulations of the zoning district in which it's located. So, I mean, you're located in agricultural zoning, so just saying that you shall conform to any regulations that happen to be in the agricultural district, so you would agree that you're doing that.
Yep.
And that your conditional use is reasonably in the interest of the public welfare. Maybe you can address where your business is, what the demand for your business is.
Well, it's just basically, you know, like to provide the citizen of Worcester, you know, like
How wide is your business area? How far do you go? Where are your customers?
we just do Worcester and Crystal Lake and Huntley. It's all where we do, and also we deliver material. We don't go far away.
Okay. So you would say there's a need, you have plenty of customers local.
Yes, yes. Well, basically Worcester is where we have most of the customers.
Okay. And then finally, the last one, the adequate measures will be taken to provide protection to groundwater recharge and groundwater quality.
Sure.
Now, a lot of that is like your de-icing, the changes that you're gonna have to make, so your de-icing is not impacting groundwater recharge, groundwater quality. So that's, you have to demonstrate that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Does any other board members have any other questions after going through the standards? Does staff have any questions for the petitioner?
Yes. I thought I heard you earlier on indicate that the bins are 8 feet high. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, it's 4 blocks, so it's 8 feet high.
Okay. The proposed condition is a maximum of 6 foot high. Do you think that you can conform to that?
Absolutely, I can do that, and the reason that we put 8 is because we don't want a spill and the customers, you know, like behind, because that is what happened. We probably use only 6 because a ski loader only can lift almost like the height of 3 bins. But the problem is when you scoop, you like move it and material go either on this side or on the other side or behind, and that is the reason that we put 4, but if it's not possible, I can go 3.
Okay.
But that is the only reason that we have 4 to not have not contaminate any material on both sides and also the back of the property.
Okay. Let me see if I have it down here. Hang on. Okay, when I was putting together the presentation this morning, looking at Google Maps, you can see in the upper, along the 176 there, it does say Eddie's Landscaping, but it also pinged Eddie's Paving as part of Google Maps. I understand Google Maps isn't always accurate, but can you provide any insights as to why it might be indicating Eddie's Paving?
Okay, so that one, for some reason, they get it in a mobile phone because we don't have line phones anymore because it's very hard to AT&T don't want to give, but for some reason they put Eddie's Paving instead of Eddie's Landscaping.
Okay, so your phone, if someone were to call you, that says Eddie's Paving?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you have a paving business somewhere else?
No.
Okay,
So one of the mobile phones, they have an Eddie's Paving, but we don't do paving.
okay. So Mr. Smolinski was asking about the sign that you're proposing, that it would be a lighted sign. Just out of curiosity, are you thinking that you want a sign where the lights are outside shining up, or is it going to be like these internal?
It's gonna be internal.
Okay.
One of the neighbors have one that is in Coles Flower, I think.
Colesies.
Coles's, yes. They have one, so it's gonna be
Something along those lines?
exactly like that one.
Okay. You also mentioned that at some time in the future that you'd like to do maintenance of vehicles. I didn't see that on your site plan. What building were you thinking that you might?
There will be the building that is at 16.
Okay, where do you have your office now?
Yes.
So that rear portion that you want to add on, that's where you're thinking that you'll have maintenance, potential maintenance in that part there?
No,
or-
and the new one, we want to have the office and the next side, the parking lot for employees.
Gotcha.
But the old
Okay.
one, we would like to be able to use for maintenance.
Gotcha, okay.
And do whatever required needs.
Okay, and then Ms. Boostra did advise you that you probably need floor drains and whatever else for that, but that would be part of your building permit process for that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then one of the requirements for a landscape business is not to have de-icing materials. Hang on just one second. What did you say?
It just has to be compliant with that section,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Being corrected here, you have to be in compliance with the de-icing standards here. So we'll need to work with you as to whether or not you're complying with those standards. Okay? So that could be an off-topic conversation throughout the building division.
Okay.
Okay. I believe that answers the questions that I had.
Okay, so at this time, any members of the public, if you'd like to ask questions of the petitioner regarding their testimony, now would be the time to do so. So if any of you would like to do so, I would ask you to state your name and your address, and then at that time you could ask questions of the petitioner. Does anyone want to ask questions?
Yes, I have.
Okay, yeah, come on up to the microphone. And you can take it out and just hold it there if you'd like.
Make it easier. It's on.
Hello. Hi, my name is Brian Miller, address 13706 Pleasant Valley Road. So I would be directly south of the property here. You stated hours of operation around 7 to 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
I get it's flexible depending on the season, but what about holidays? That tub grinder runs quite a bit any day, whenever. Is part of this permit to have holiday? Is there any restrictions on that?
He can ask for what he wants, and then we can make restrictions if we so choose.
Okay, is a copy of that available? Or can
Yes,
I
oh
look it
yes.
up?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I apologize, I did not see that, but, for example, it's just like when the grinder's running all the time, like,
Well, right now, you can ask him a question, and then at the time of public comment, you can tell us what you feel is necessary, what restrictions you would like us to put on. That would be it later in the hearing.
okay,
But right now, you want to ask him any questions regarding his testimony.
okay. You said there's arborvitae's around the property currently.
Yes.
Is that on the east side of the property, I assume?
And yes, there are various, and then the side, you by the side of the Pleasant Valley?
Yes, that'd be. the
Okay, so in that side, we have the river birches, and in the winter, I know that they probably don't have a coverage, But if you require, we can be able to put the same arborvitaes on the other side.
Okay.
And also, if you don't want holidays, I mean, that is no problem. We can be able to not ruin any noisy equipment and holidays. I mean, that is no problem.
Okay. And is part of that plan to expand the yard more from what, I can't, from back here, it's hard to see what,
You want to come up and look at it, or over here, or
okay.
maybe somebody can give you the site plan there that you can look at. There you go.
I don't have any
That's
further
pretty much like
questions.
it's,
That's what I need.
I know, I can handle it.
Hello, I'm Ryan Gieske. I'm familiar with a lot of you folks.
And your address, please, Ryan.
815 Oak Manor Drive, Marengo, Illinois. I happen to be neighbors of Eddie's. We own the farm to the west, and I just wanted to know if there's anything on this for retention.
Yes, yes. It's what we are right here because we're gonna do a retention pond and to protect the farm for like you guys say, the water, to not ruin.
That's the main thing in this whole thing. I'm all for small business, but we take on a lot of water, and when you have more and more parking lot, buildings, whatever, less to absorb to the east of us, we're taking it. And the water, when we get these big heavy rains, the water almost goes over Sunnyside Road now. And there's only an 8-inch tile, so you have to, and we can get to that later in this hearing, but you have to put in the conditional use permit that you have to have some sort of retention, halfway up the field on our fence line to catch a big share of his water, because it's just.
Okay, let's deal with that in the comments, but I will tell you that stormwater, they have to get us, it looks like on staff plat review that Joanna Coletti said a permit is required for that impervious surface area that they have increased. And so, and all the improvements, even if the conditional use is approved, they will have to meet that before they can operate their business.
and the site plan shows a 1.5 acre retention basin in the, that would be the southwest corner of the property.
But that's as it stands now, but then as he adds more and more, the retention pad should be made bigger.
Either bigger or deeper.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Farlow. My property is,
And your address, please.
oh yeah, it is 13804 Pleasant Valley Road. And on the screen, that would be just like very bottom left of center. I have more comments, but if this is time for
Comments are at a
questions,
different time.
Yeah.
Questions of his testimony.
Okay, so I guess my only question would be, when she asked you that if you believed that property values would be affected or diminish, and you said you didn't believe so because there were other businesses around, could you expand on that, why you believe, if you don't believe it would diminish property values, I guess you suppose it would improve them. Can you expand on why you think that a business looking like this would improve property values for the people living around it, for the families that live all around the area?
Well, I can say that sometimes you're looking for 10 acres to be able to have more space.
Well, my question is, how would you think that this doesn't take away from the value of the property of the people that live around it, that are raising families? Maybe, like, how would this improve property, I guess, is my question? Not necessarily with the size of...
Not improve, but also I don't think that devalue it, like the property, unless
What's that? Sorry.
Devalue.
devalue it, like the property.
Right.
What is your question, like?
My question is, for instance, to do all this, a lot of the very valuable topsoil that we have in this area was scraped off the face of the earth to park stuff, to grind stuff. My question is, in what instance does it not diminish the values of your property or properties around it where you're removing the very valuable topsoil in which have been scraped off and sold for profit? How does that not diminish property values of yours? Maybe you made the quick buck, but in the future when we're gone, how does that affect the future of our children that live around this area, our family that I'm raising there?
Well, we're planting trees too, and.
I'm talking about the soil.
Well, the soil, like
Yeah.
we use in the area to parking, and that's what we do.
No, the soil that was removed, that is usually added into the value of properties, right? So the reason why the areas are very valuable is because of their potential profit that you can do, just like you should, you're growing stuff, right? So you have very valuable soil to grow. When you remove that, what are you doing?
Just to be clear, the standard is that the conditional use shall not substantially diminish and impair property value.
Sure. So
It's not required to increase property value or anything, it's just that it will not substantially diminish and impair property.
yeah, so that's my question. How does it not? How does removing all the topsoil not?
With the same, I can't answer that question that.
I don't understand you. What?
I cannot answer that question when
Okay.
you're asking me that, like if I'm were you saying that I'm ruining the property or something?
I'm not saying you're ruining the property, I just would like you to explain to me how you're not diminishing the value of your property, others around it, if you're going to scrape off topsoil, sell it, and be left with what? Clay, mud. This gentleman was there yesterday, it's very muddy. So my question again, how does that not diminish the property value?
Well, when we have the piles of mulch and firewood, we're not removing the soil. It's what I explained them.
So, you haven't removed any soil? You
No,
have
not-
not removed any topsoil?
Okay, so from here, all this area from here,
I'm familiar with the area, sir.
I may have a material there, but it's not removing the soil. It's at the top of.
You're saying that before you put that material there, you drove up to the area, the open field, dumped the material,
Yes.
didn't touch the thing, and then for all the drives, you haven't excavated anything, you haven't pulled out any topsoil?
Yes, right there, yes. Where we have the bins, yes, we put a gravel.
Right, and what'd you do with you put gravel right on top of topsoil, is what you're saying?
No, we removed that.
Right, you removed the topsoil, that was what I was getting to. How does that not diminish, when you remove all the topsoil, how would that not diminish the value of a property? Topsoil is one thing you can't just
I think
produce.
he's answered to the best of his ability. If you disagree with it, then you can talk about it in your comments,
Okay.
if you feel that way.
Sure. So the answer is,
So, he answered, how he viewed it. Are there any other questions with the gentleman that was looking at the
I can holler at him, he might have
site?
taken a phone
Yeah,
call.
or the site plan? Does anybody else have any other questions?
Have any other questions?
I don't have any more questions at this
Okay.
time. I'll wait.
No other questions by the public? Okay.
Can I ask somebody a question?
So your testimony is finished?
Yes.
Okay. So, would you like to give some testimony as
Well,
well?
I just wanted to reiterate about Mr. Eldridge's question about
Okay, so at this
something.
point, would you then please identify yourself again and your
Yes.
address, and then you can answer the
Yes,
questions.
Ann Armbruster Nursery with the Jasmine's Nursery at 13615 Route 176 Woodstock. I think there was a misunderstanding in the question that you asked him about the diesel and the gas area, and if it was contained. properly. It is contained properly. We had the fire marshal come out, and he told us exactly what to do to have it contained, and also to have, like, if there was ever a fire or anything like that, and he signed off on it and inspected and everything like that.
Thank you.
And then that report was already sent over to the Department of Planning. And then I had one question in regards to, there was a comment by Mr. Lovato about soil testing. All the soil testing has been done and turned in. So I'm not sure why it's saying it wasn't.
Okay.
On
Well,
page
those
23.
minutes could have been maybe before you turned it in. It could have
yeah,
been from
it's-
the,
And that was it, yeah.
Highest elevation.
Okay, so at this time, we would take testimony from members of the public, starting with the planning department.
Again, I'm Anna Kurtzman, senior planner. So this particular site is along Illinois Route 176. It is zoned agricultural right now. The land uses in the area is a mixture of uses along 176. You have some businesses such as this landscaping that occur along 176. You also have interspersed with housing, some horse farms, that kind of nature along this stretch of road here. This is one of several landscape type businesses that either are currently operating or proposed to be operating along 176 between Marengo and Woodstock. The future land use map for this area shows us as being estate. While it is being shown as estate, this type of a business could very easily lend itself to creation of residential lots in the future. It's not going to be so impacted that a residential units could not potentially use this area for residents in the future. In terms of the septic systems, yes, the staff plat report that you have does note concerns with the septic systems. The applicants have been working closely with the health department to ensure that current systems are operational and that there are adequate replacement systems that are noted on the site plan. Those approvals came after the staff plat meeting. Those were administratively reviewed and approved by the health department. I believe that covers the points that I wanted to address.
Okay, members of the board have questions for Anna? Turn. Any down here? Questions?
Has there been an RFS with regard to this business?
I'm not aware of one.
I believe it's in the staff report. There is an
Okay.
RFS.
Okay.
It says in the first paragraph, in 2021, at which time an RFS was issued for structures without a permit and for operating a landscape business with outdoor storage without proper zoning.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Okay, and you don't know whether that's still pending or not, I presume that...
It's still pending for the CUP, for the conditional use permit.
Okay, that's all I have.
Yes.
Thank you. Did we receive any, or did the county receive any municipal comment from?
Yeah,
And none from the townships?
correct.
Have there been any complaints on this property?
I presume to create the RFS, there was a complaint. I don't know how that was brought to our attention.
But other than that, no.
I personally have not received any complaints.
Thank you.
How about the stormwater permit, Anna? What's the status of the
So
stormwater?
the stormwater permit, they will have to apply for one as part of the staff plat review. Joanna did take a look and she is estimating based on limited information for staff plat, that it would have to be in the southwest corner, roughly 1 to 2 acres in size.
And so the concerns of Mr. Gieske as far as runoff, that was on the east side, correct?
I don't believe that's correct. Mr. Gieske's property, if I remember correctly, is on the west.
We're west of that.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
if I-
All right,
if I might just
so
say one-
we'll talk about it after she finishes. So anyhow, any of his issues would be dealt with during that stormwater permit?
So as I understand the state laws in terms of drainage, they're not supposed to drain onto adjacent property
That's my
in
understanding.
a fashion that is greater than what currently happens.
Okay. Any other questions for staff?
I have
Yes.
Does the county have a copy of the state fire marshal permit for the above-ground tanks?
To the best of my knowledge, the planning division does not. I do not know if the building division, which would be the next logical place to have that filed, if they have a copy of it.
Any other questions by the board? Okay, now we'll move to public comments from anyone else attending. So now would be your opportunity, any of you, if you'd like to speak and have a comment or suggestion. Again, your name and address, and then
Hello, I'm Ryan Gieske, 815 Oak Manor Drive.
also we'll have a 3-minute time limit on your comments.
You brought up a good point here with this retention pond. I don't know who dreamt that up to put that in that southwest corner, but you probably can't tell, we don't have a topo here, but the land goes like this. I mean, it's probably
And we'll bring up a total.
20 to 30 feet higher in that corner. Can I walk up there? I'll show you.
Yeah, sure.
Which I don't know who dreamt this up, but the retention pond should go in here. Here's the valley of the land, right here. Up here is probably 30 feet higher than here.
Can I answer that?
But he can probably,
The engineer is gonna find out
okay.
where
I mean, they could probably.
The amount of water going
excavating
elevation.
outfit come in and move all this dirt from here to there and channel it out of here. I don't know. But the way it stands right now, the way it
yes,
lies,
is the law.
it'd be better off being
He's
here.
correct, it's right there.
Okay, well then the engineers will probably deal with that when they design that.
Okay.
I'm sure you're aware, Ryan, our stormwater ordinance is pretty strong and we can.
No comment. Sometimes you're better off leaving alone.
Any other comments by members of the public? State your name and address, and you have 2 minutes.
Brian Miller, 13706 Pleasant Valley Road. I support the small business and the nursery and that. It's my concern as a resident with small children to the immediate south. Now granted, I'm not right up against the property line, but the tub grinder is loud and it runs a lot. In the last 2 years, his business, as he stated, is moved in here full-time, and my concern here is the expansion of this property. This plan, looking at it here on the floor real quick, we're already at that, he's already at that capacity. I mean, that is I would say a best-case scenario, should this get permitted. I don't know what the expansion plan is for his business, but it appears that you're doing very well and good for you. It's just,
sorry.
this plan is, those piles are already that big or bigger. This is kind of a fairy tale, this plan is. So, good for you. I would like to see the hours of operation limited to, and they're not out of control.
Would it be the tub grinder that you're more concerned with?
The grinder's horrible. We have people over on, a Saturday to cook out for the kid's birthday, and the other thing is, we have wood ticks like crazy in the last 2 years. We never had them before. Kids play in a swing set. Every time kids go home from our house, they have ticks.
Yeah, it's a lot and
And they I can't say, I'm not a scientist, not a biologist, but they weren't there in a couple of years prior. We have a lot of wood ticks. It's, everybody who comes to our house makes mention of it. And I have 2 small children, and he has 2 small children. It's just something to look out for, so. Hours of operation and
Hours of
expansion
operation,
plan.
if it was limited to weekdays, would that be helpful to you?
It would be helpful when you have people over, and I understand there's a busy season. I'm in construction myself. I have a horticulture degree also. I understand the business. So, I mean, I'm not trying to over complain about it, but it would be nice to be limited and not, holidays.
Okay.
That's really all I have at this time. And some more, those arborvitaes would be nice, or some kind of.
No, absolutely. I mean, that is no problem, I can be able to put the arborvitaes like I did on the other side. I mean, that is no problem. The operation of the top grinder or any noise, I mean, I'd be able to move it to
You'd be able to deal with that?
block the noise, I mean, to do whatever needs to be done, and the same with the stormwater I talked to you about before, to do the drainage, but I cannot do anything until they decide. And the same where the lower area where the water is, the same, I know where the lower is, but for some reason they just put it there, but until they take the elevation, he need to go and do that.
Okay,
For what?
the other gentleman, would you like to make your
Yeah.
comments?
My name, the name again? My name is Nathaniel Farlow. I live at 13804 Pleasant Valley. I just ask that you consider, in moving forward with your business, that you understand that families live around this area, around this. It's not just, like, I know to your west you see a big cornfield, and then behind you you kind of really can't see us, but like Brian stated, in the summer, it's just, it's kind of crazy to have all that construction equipment running and going whenever you're trying to, and that's the whole reason that we moved there in the first place, was like, oh, look, this is a nice little secluded spot. You pay $1,000 a month property tax, and then all of a sudden, this nice little landscaping company is turning into this monster of piles and piles, just so tall. It's like on the plan, that firewood pile has got to be twice as big right now. Like, you're not even trying to hide anything. Like, here's my plan, but then you go there now, like, you had to have seen it yesterday. I've had pictures. That thing it's half the length of the width of the property, whatever I'm trying to say now. And I'm just saying, like,
So you're saying the site plan is an expansion of what's there currently, and you're concerned about?
absolutely, yeah. And it's just like, don't be deceptive. Don't try to tell us that you're gonna have this here and that there, and be deceptive in that whenever it's already wrong. I don't know what the timing of this, what the date is on this plan, but that pile's just been growing for a year. And then, I mean, the other concerns is just simply our environment. All those machines, all those trucks, are they leaking oil? Are they maintained? And
How close is your home to this property?
my home is in a direct line, probably 300 yards. So, and then that noise that I'm hearing is through the trees. This Ryan here, he's gonna have to figure something out, because he is in the process of he's turning a bean field into, he's trying to make it nice for himself and his family to enjoy now that he's no longer gonna farm it or whatever. And so that noise is directly shooting on him, and that's why I just say, consider your neighbors and what you're doing, and the plans aren't I mean, if this is my only time to comment, that's all I'm gonna say, is like,
Okay.
what's going on with the
Noted.
pile,
Yep,
if the
okay.
plan's already twice as big, so.
Okay. All right, do you have a closing statement at all, sir?
Well, the only thing that I can say is that I will do whatever you guys require, and I will do whatever the neighbors require too. Like for the noise, I really completely understand. You know, like we put more trees to block the noise and also not operate it in the holidays where he want or where they want, you know, and work with you guys and with them too.
Okay. So again, acknowledging that the Soil and Water Conservation District report has been received. I don't think they had any comments on this, or, let me see, what they had to say. Oh, here, thank you. So they say due to minimal or no new proposed soil disturbance on the site, the Soil and Water Conservation District finds that the impact to natural resources from the proposed use is minimal for the purposes of the NRI report. So a full NRI report will not be necessary. But we would like to highlight a few resources on the property. Office maps indicate the presence of hybrid soils in multiple locations of the parcel. Our wetland inventory is for informational and planning purposes only. Any proposed drainage work in wet areas requires a certified wetland delineation. If drainage work is to incur, contact the Army Corps of Engineers and the McHenry County Planning and Development for permit information. So we have 7 members here today, so we will go ahead and close the hearing, and then we will open the hearing back up for a voting meeting. So at this time, the hearing is closed. Now I will open the business meeting for a voting meeting, and this is regarding petition number 2022-09, Leinhardt Eddie's Landscaping, and this is for a conditional use permit allowing for the operation of a landscape business with outdoor storage in the A1 Agricultural District. Now, in the packet that you've received, we have some proposed conditions from staff. I will go through those first. The staff offers the following conditions for consideration. The conditional use shall expire 10 years from the date of approval by the McHenry County Board. Any comments by members of the board? Okay, number 2, the conditional use shall substantially conform to the site plan prepared by RB Custom Designs Incorporated, dated November 2nd, 2022.
I would
Yes,
like
go
to
ahead,
propose
Jeremy.
an amendment to condition 2. I would like to add the sentence, notwithstanding the foregoing, that the south border of the property shall have arborvitae as required on the east border of the property.
Does Charlie have a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Just a comment on it. So when I visited the site yesterday, the arbor vitae on the east side of the property is not opaque. You can see through it to the home to the east. So I think that the arbor vitae that you have there is insufficient for a screening at all.
So you guys required to put it more close to each other? I can do that.
Yeah, they would have, so that it's a full screening.
Okay, we can do
It's
that.
not a full screening.
Okay. So they have to be, they have to be planted like in zigzag instead of line, so be able to cover the middle area.
That's what I,
Okay.
well, you're the expert on
Okay.
that, so I will.
Okay, I will do that.
So, Charlie,
How tall are they, would you say, and how far apart?
I'd
are
say
they?
they're probably 10 to 12 feet tall. They're tall,
Yes.
but they're too widely spaced.
Well, they're
We
6
need
foot
3
7.
feet to separation for growing, but we can.
Were
do-
those existing when you bought the property?
No, we have to put.
You put them in?
We put it in.
Okay.
Okay.
Bob has a question.
Bob,
Well, I note the the instructions, and I too will search for clarity. It says 6 foot on center. If you were to do an offset in between, that would only add about another 160 trees, and therefore they would grow into one another. The spacing then would be not that great, but you wouldn't have to insert them in between one, but just did an offset. So you'd have your existing tree, you have your 6 foot center.
In other words, two rows
Two
rows of 6 feet
offset.
off of an offset.
Right.
I will amend my amendment to that.
And I'll second the amendment to the amendment.
Thank you.
It's a committee. So I think we followed Robert's Rules of Order, sort of. So we have it on the record what all this language is, but I think everyone on the board understands the purpose of this amendment to this condition. Okay. I will just take a voice vote for consensus. All those in favor of this amendment to condition number 2, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes unanimously, so that will be changed. Okay, we'll move on to condition number 3. The property owner shall submit an application for a stormwater management permit within 4 months of approval by the county board of this conditional use permit. Number 4, the property owner shall submit applications for building permits for the existing bins and hoop structures within 45 days of approval of this conditional use permit by the county board. Number 5, the maximum height of bins and the materials contained within them shall not exceed 6 feet in height. Number 6, any storage of de-icing agents shall conform to the standards of section 16.56.050.e of the McHenry County Unified Development Code. Number 7, retail sales shall be prohibited on site. Number 8, all other federal, state, and local laws shall be met.
I'd like to propose a new condition.
Okay, Ms. Gardner, go ahead.
I would propose,
This would be condition number 9.
let's see there. I would propose that we limit the hours of the tub grinder operation, days and hours, to weekdays until 4 p.m. Does
I'll
that sound
second.
reasonable?
Yes, absolutely.
Excluding holidays.
Excluding holidays.
Absolutely.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion has been made by Ms. Gardner, seconded by Mr. Eldridge. Any discussion?
I have a quick item here. It shouldn't say excluding holidays. It should say including holidays.
Yes, it should. You're right.
Don't you think so?
Excluding operating.
Yes.
If you prohibit something, you want
We
to
should generally-
include those holidays, yes.
Not operating on holidays.
Yes, I'm fine. Like I say, I'm sorry that we didn't have a complaint, so we was running in the time that we can, but if somebody required that, we change the time the same, like, we don't start early to make a noise for the chain show, but we would do that.
Okay, so I have here that hours of operation of the tub grinder shall be limited to weekdays from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. excluding holidays.
It was right the first time.
Is that's
That's
adequate? Okay. All right, any other discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor of this addition, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes 7-0. Any other proposed conditions?
Yes, Madam Chairman.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Eldridge.
I would like to have a condition that there be reasonable containment for spills underneath any tanks for any kind of fuel. What's there presently is adequate to prevent explosions or major fires, but I don't believe that it protects the groundwater adequately.
I'll second that.
The motion has been made by Mr. Eldridge, seconded by Ms. Gardner. Discussion.
Yes, I agree with that, and I did take a picture of it as well. There is no containment on it for leaks into the ground. I don't know what fire marshal signed off on that, but I can't believe the state fire marshal would ever allow that without containment. And the containment is usually solid concrete that has a berm edge around it so that it could contain a complete spill of those tanks. And that is not present there at all, so that's the reason for this condition. Is that something that you would be willing to consider?
Absolutely. What we did is where they asked the marshal when they went that they have to have all the extinguishers. We had to protect the tanks all around. We had
Protected on the side, but not for leakage.
I'm guessing they're probably double-walled tanks.
Yes, I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
Did we have to call another marshal? Or,
Well,
and-
is it the permit
I'm
from
sure
the
the-
state fire
yeah,
marshal or the
yeah.
local fire marshal? Do we
Which
know?
was this?
The local?
Woodstock.
Anna, do you have any insight into
It
this?
has to be from the state.
I'm certain that our building division would be willing to work with you to ensure that that is adequately addressing the conditions that's being proposed.
So, Mr. Eldridge, just to be clear, I mean, would you want containment that meets the state fire marshals?
No, that it meets environmental standards. This isn't a fire risk.
Okay. So, who's going to decide what's a reasonable container?
The building division.
Okay. That's okay with you?
I'll work with them on that.
Okay. Yes, go
Madam
ahead.
Chair, I just wanted to amplify the concern of my colleague. We're talking about 2,000 gallons, which is well over 20 cars on that end of it. And it's not so much that the tank could be pierced, but just the consequence of the handle being off and then slow leak over time. In an area of which the predominant usage is well water from that area. And 2,000 gallons is a
It's a
tipping
lot.
level. And one reason my jaw was down when you gave that testimony, but thank you for your candor.
Absolutely, I'd be able to do the concrete what he required to be able to be more safe for a spill.
And this is an area generally with a very high water table, and so the groundwater is really close to the surface.
Okay, any other discussion on this? Okay, I have the condition to read that reasonable containment for spills for the diesel and gasoline shall be constructed and the standards to be decided by the building division for environmental purposes.
Well, any storage of any fuel or solvents. So I mean,
Okay, so we're
if
going
they
to
have-
say for spills for any fuel and solvents.
Yeah, I mean, if they have a couple of drums of motor fuel, I want those protected too.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor of this condition, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes 7-0. Any other conditions proposed? Anna?
I'm just going to point out that during testimony, our eye contact here, I got the impression that you wanted to have a condition where the site plan shows area for processing.
Yes.
So do you want to amend number 2 there so that,
I will post that condition. Madam Chairman, with your permission.
Yes. So you want to go back to number 2 and the site plan and that,
That an area for processing be delineated and the building department define whatever limitations there should be on it.
And I'll second that.
Okay, the motion made by Mr. Eldridge, seconded by Ms. Gardner. Any discussion on that?
I have a question regarding that.
Sure.
If Eddie's got his tub grinder and he's making mulch, and this year he's here, you want an area on the site plan specifically for processing. He's got 29 acres there. Don't you think that pile's gonna move occasionally from year to year?
Well, the standard in the ordinance is that he has to put that on the site plan where that's going to be. And it wasn't listed, so
Could
this
be here
just
for a
is.
year or two, and he could move it over 500 feet for a year or two. Plans change. I mean, so if it's okay with him, are you okay with keeping that tub grinder in the same location forever and ever?
Well, we have to think about the neighbors, and
Yeah.
as what I want, like maybe I was grinding too close where the property is, I can move the processing, and that's why I didn't know what area to put it in, and I can fix that to not grind it too close to where they are, so don't make too much noise and put it in the middle. I can change a little bit, something like that.
So are you saying you'd like to change where those areas are on your site plan?
We usually grind right here.
Okay,
I can grind it right here.
But then you're close.
No, I can, also, the same this one, so just pile, but instead of grinding right here in the middle, we grind right here and put the material right here.
so would you like the area for processing and mulching to be in that area you're pointing to?
Because this square right here is for pile wood chips. But instead of having the wood chips, I can grind it and just change this one, because right now we grind it right here
So those 3 bins would just be for storage?
for a storage shop. So I can change the grinder and put it right here, so be far away because the properties are right here.
Okay, so Anna, you have that duly noted?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, it goes back to the condition that we need the area for processing and mulching to be delineated. And so the petitioner has shown us on the site plan where he would like that to be more respectful of the neighbors. And is that suitable for you, Mr. Eldridge?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor of this condition, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes also 7-0. Thank you for that, Anna. Any other proposed conditions? Okay, at this time, I would take a vote then on the conditions, the total conditions. If
I
would-
move the conditions as amended.
Okay, let me get up.
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion has been made by Mr. Eldridge to approve the conditions and seconded by Mr. Smolinski. Any discussion?
No.
Okay. All right, we'll take a vote. Then Mr. Eldridge.
Yes.
Ms. Gardner.
Yes.
Ms. Kustra, I vote aye. Mr. Cozen.
Aye.
Mr. Schnabel.
Yes.
Mr. Smolinski.
Yes.
Mr. Jers.
Yes.
Okay, the conditions are approved 7-0. Okay, now I would entertain a motion for approval of this conditional use request.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, the motion has been made by Mr. Jers and seconded by Mr. Eldridge. Discussion, Mr. Jers.
I've been on this property multiple times. I've known Eddie for a long time. He's one of the hardest working men I've ever met in my life. The property is 29 acres. I think he's got more than enough land there for what he's doing and for probably the immediate future. I'm in favor of the whole thing. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Schnabel.
Yes, in large part in agreement with that comment from Mr. Juris. I'd also like to add, I've looked at a few of these landscape CUPs over the years, and yours is by far, some might say not completely accurate, that could be determined, but definitely from a planning standpoint, his plan is one of the most detailed I've ever seen for an operation like this. And to back up what Mr. Juris just said too, many operations are trying to operate something of your scale on a 5-acre lot. You're not trying to do that. So I think overall that this would be I'll just say it's a conditional use. I am definitely in favor of, and I would vote to approve.
Ms. Gardner?
I'm in favor of this proposal. I believe that you're a good businessman, first of all. Your business is thriving, apparently. I would encourage you to keep in touch with your neighbors and their, needs so that they don't end up going to the planning department complaining about you. You'd rather head it off at the pass. And anything new that you plan on doing, you need to go to planning and development with. If you decide to put up another building or change your plan somehow, go to them first. That's very important so that you don't get another RFS. Otherwise, I think that what you're doing is something that's needed in our area. I think you're doing a good job of it. I think that you're going to be very sensitive to your neighbors, and I'm in favor.
Mr. Eldridge?
Yes, I believe that all the standards for conditional use have been met. While, as I mentioned, the soils in this area are quite sensitive and the water table is very high, I think that there is enough land to do the work that, and a business on the scale that you have, even with growth on this site, reasonably protecting your neighbors from complaints with the conditions we put in. I think we have addressed the concerns that were raised here to the degree that we are capable of doing so. I think that the corridor of which you form a part along 176 will develop, already has developed commercially to some extent for this type of business, and that this is an appropriate business in this location. And for these reasons and others, I support what you're proposing and will vote yes.
Mr. Smolinski?
I agree with the comments from my colleagues here. I just want to wish you the best of luck, because you got a lot of work ahead of you here, a lot of work with some of the things that you're going to have to go through with the county. So I wish you the best in that, and I will support the position.
Thank you.
Mr. Cozen?
Rather than what I am otherwise not known for, I'll be brief. To commend that I appreciate the comments of your neighbors and their candor and the atmosphere by which it was exchanged. And in that atmosphere, I too will support this petition.
Okay, and I also believe that the restrictions that we put on your business regarding the size of the piles, the size of the bins, the hours of operation, all those are to help mitigate the impacts on your neighbors, to have the impacts on, groundwater, all those sorts of things. So I think by the restrictions that we have on that, and as long as they're followed, I think you will have probably not any problems with your neighbors, and the addition of the plantings as well. So I believe that this is a business that is in demand in this area. There are other ones along Route 176, as was mentioned by Mr. Eldridge. And I believe that you've done a great job in trying to address all these needs. And you're very familiar with the fact that there's going to be a lot more things that you're going to have to do to be able to then operate this business, but you're making a real good faith effort. And I commend you on that, and so I will be voting in favor of the petition as well. So at this time, I will take the vote. Mr. Eldridge?
Yes.
Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Cozen?
Yes.
Mr. Schnabel?
Yes.
Mr. Smolinski?
Yes.
Mr. Jers?
Yes.
And I will vote yes as well. So this will go to the county board with a 7-0 vote approving this petition. Do we have anything else to come before us today?
No.
Okay,
Motion to
so
adjourn.
at this time, the meeting is closed.